Hi, Candid Culture. This is Crystal, and thank you for joining us for our Married at First Sight reviews. Woo! Go ahead, Misha.
Yes. Hey, you guys, welcome. I am Misha Allen. This is Crystal Lynette. We are about to dive into this new episode of Married at First Sight. So let's just start with we're gonna save the smoke for the end as usual, but let's start with Brett and Ryan. So, do you want to go first, or
I'll go
you have
first. You
anything?
know what?
Okay.
So here's the thing, Ryan, and we knew it was true. We knew what it was that he was not attracted to her. But you have this, and finally, you actually just admitted it. You kept saying it, and I knew that there was something behind your eyes, but you just did not let it out. But, sweetheart, and I said this last night, sweetheart, you're not going to get Underwood. You're not going to get Carrie Underwood. You're not. Just face it. Look yourself in the mirror. You're not going to get Carrie Underwood. You're not going to get Taylor Swift. Stop it.
Mm-hmm.
And at least he admitted it that he was not he had shut down, that he was not giving anything into this relationship. And it's sad, and but at the same time, Brett, stop answering questions for him. You're sitting there with Dr. V, and you are so in and you want this so bad, and it shows. I truly believe Ryan is he wants that challenge, but he wants a
Mm,
different type of woman. He said it just boils down to type. It just boils down to type. And something else he said that was so interesting, he said that she's so high maintenance that I find myself calming down even more to make sure she's relaxed. I said, no, you're not. No, you're not. You are not calming down even more.
right.
Everybody can see the stress behind your eyes, and maybe if you would just relax and not worry so much about it. Oh, she's just so worried. She's just so high maintenance. No, she said, hey, this may not be my thing, but I'll try it. And you need to do the same thing. You need to at least try. And what's your name, Brett? Stop. This is one time when we're saying stop giving so much and let him show you. Let him show and prove. You have to
Right.
let him show and prove. You have to let him at least say he's interested. And
Mm-hmm.
when he first came on, he was like, "Oh, she's really pretty," and he's very pretty. He was he was complimentary. I'm going to only say he was complimentary the first night. I have not really seen anything else since then. And at least he
Mm-hmm.
admitted that he shut down. It's sad, but we kind of knew this. We kind of knew
Right.
all of this. And uh, Dr. V, I hope that they've edited all of your counseling, because you put a little tip on it and you saying, this is not, that's how Hollywood, that's a fairy tale. Uh, say more. Let him know that those people are not, in a small town in Houston. No, that they're not there. And also, you want to type, but that type that you've been dating, those potatoes, as your sister called it, that's why you're still single.
Hello.
So that's it for me. Go ahead. Let's just zoom through them.
So, yeah, Brett finally admits that, or Ryan finally admits that Brett isn't his type. Like we said on here, like he was more wanted a Taylor Swift on Janice Hilton. Shout out to all the cousins that be coming in and joining. She said he wanted a Princess Diana type of woman. And it's like everyone knew it. It's like he finally said it out loud, and we're 10 episodes in, and it's like, Ryan, come on now. Like what like what is take I don't know. So, and even when he sat there and said, well, I'm sure she can feel it. I'm sure. And it's like, wait, you didn't say anything though. You haven't communicated anything. And to say you're waiting for butterflies, I'm like, how old are you?
Right.
How are you 35 years old? Talking about you looking for butterflies and your stomach to flip and turn. Child, take a laxative. That's what you
Exactly.
want to
Thank you.
feel.
I love it. Take a laxative.
It makes no sense. First of all, you hear this, it's weird to me because you hear this from females. You hear females looking for that spark and
That-
fireworks, and for him to claim to be so laid back, but he hasn't gotten those butterflies. And he keeps talking about how Brett is high strung. They must be doing hella editing, because I'm like, there was only one or two incidents, the plane and maybe the boat, where she was maybe on her nerves were high, and she said she don't like stuff like that. So I don't, and it's like, it seems like he's trying to find like, kind of like I forget the names, but it's like he's trying to find something to focus on and dwell on, and just say you don't like the girl.
right.
Like, just say you don't like her, and Brett knows that, but she still keeps putting that effort in. She still keeps chasing him. Allow the man to pursue you, and if he don't pursue, he ain't the one for you. And like, I feel for Brett, because I feel like they did a disservice to her, because it's very easy to paint her as thirsty, or she shouldn't do this or that. But like she said, if we were dating, I could easily say, you don't like me, bye. But we're in a marriage now. I'm supposed to stick this out. So I feel bad for her in that she kind of has to put effort in, or she looks like, I don't know. It's like, it's a sticky situation for Brett. But Ryan, when Ryan pulled a Johnny talking about he needs to do a reset and he needs to go to his house, and I'm like, is this the millennial husband? Like, you
Right.
need to leave your wife for days at a time? Like, to me, that's cheating.
Girl,
To
you
me,
just
that is cheating. Even though you might not be with a woman, you gonna make me think, like, even if eventually, even if that like type of behavior continues, it's going to lead to cheating, because there's something you're missing. And while you have all that free time with that little deer head hanging on the wall, you're gonna find a little Taylor Swift in a flannel to come over. So yeah, Ryan.
but that type of love is temporary, and that's what he has had for the longest time, is this temporary love. And he's like, well, that's my type, that's my type, and that type has left you single. But let me go back to what you just said. It
Mhm.
is so funny. I said, yet again, we have another man that has had to take 2 days away, and I'm like, what is happening? And to somebody else's point, I was watching, I actually think it was the Kev on Stage's show, and they were like, the only one that stuck around, well, the only one I'm about to say, the only one that has not cut and run is Gil. And
Mm.
Johnny hasn't, I mean, not is Gil. The only one that has not, left for a couple of days is Gil. Jose hasn't left, but listen, anyway, we're about to get into that. So yeah, the only one that hasn't wanted to just flee for a couple of days is Gil. Like, what is
That's
happening?
true.
Like you said, these you got to go. What? So,
Hmm.
and that's what I said about Dr. V's her therapy, because after she left, he was like, I got to leave for 2 days. Like, he didn't take any of that in. So I'm like, what did she say that would made you say, okay, she's right? And I actually think he must have had some counseling from a sister or somebody else that said, listen, like, I brought up the potatoes. This is a good woman, and you can't just treat her like this and just leave for 2 days. And wow. Anyway, go ahead.
That's all I have for them, because it's the same thing. Like, we already knew it. It's like,
Right.
what's his name? Ryan finally, I don't know. He even barely, it's like everything you have to pull out of him. It's like he'd even say it. It's like Dr. V had to pry. And
Mm-hmm.
like that brother-in-law or brother, whoever he was, said, you gotta pry at it couldn't be me. Couldn't be me. We're not about to sit here. You've been with this woman. Has it been a month? I don't know if they've been to
They said
have
like 23
past.
days. 23 days, I think.
Yeah, like, yeah, no. Yeah, no. Like, it could not
Mm-mm.
be me.
And
Brett's very pretty. And I like every time I see her on the screen, I'm like, man, she's so pretty. And even now, because, she got a bad rep, people talk about she dressed like a grandma. But you see, like these last couple episodes, she's really putting effort into her appearance because I think she thinks she I, I think she thinks she can bring that attraction by like looking her best, which good for Brett for doing that, but he not into you. Like if he can't get over the fact that you're not his type, then my whole thing is you said she's attractive. Okay, she's not your type. Thank you, Auntie. Um yeah, like she's beautiful. He said he's attracted to her. So that's what's weird to me. Like I have met men that were not my type, but I saw the goodness in them and that made me attracted to them. So the fact that he's waiting for butterflies and drones and clouds to fall out the sky, I'm like I am like, Brett, keep it moving. Do you now?
not the drones. Sorry, y'all. But you're right, though. I'm looking for this butterfly, and then he said to the doctor, "I would love to want to come home and just like throw my wife up against the wall and want to make out with her and make love to her." And he said, "I'm just not feeling that." But you, oh my gosh, I just want to have
Then he
feel.
initiated that. I'm sure Brett would be down for it.
He would be
Brett can't throw
amiable,
herself against the wall. So
right?
I don't know what I
Basically,
don't
now
know.
they're playing house. They're just playing house. Like she makes him something to eat, he makes her something to eat, and that's it. Like they're just playing house. That's it.
That's really what he comes over to eat. Then he grabs his dog and goes home. I'm like, I don't know if she's a dog sitter now. I don't know. I don't know.
She's buying him blueberries, and that's it. That's what they're doing. That's what they're
All
doing.
right. So
So,
next I want to get into Johnny and Bao.
bow chicka wow
Let's
wow.
let's get into freaky Johnny the freak, okay?
I think it's Bow the freak.
Bao.
Bow wants
I
it, but
see I see Johnny is the freak. Johnny, he's still stuck on a hentai stuff. That's why you can't let stuff into your spirit because it stays there. Like Johnny, he was watching them hentais at 13, 14. He's still acting like a 13 or 14-year-old. And that's why you gotta watch what you let into your spirit because now I feel like he has this expectation of the sex and even I don't know, it's just when they're together, it's like his initiation, it just looks so corny. It just oozes porn. And like he said with Dr. V, it's almost like lust. No, Johnny, it is lust. Like I feel like Johnny is leading with this lust and Bao is just following along. Because, like she said, she doesn't pick up on the romantic gestures and things like that. She doesn't pick up on it. So I feel like it's Johnny that's initiating it and doing all these porn moves and stuff. And Bao's just like, okay, I'll follow along with it. But Johnny, but he's like, if he's doing, I don't know, he just seems so freaky to me. So when she said vanilla sex, I was like, what? He looked like he got chains and whips and the little gag ball things. He looked like he got all that. Like
Karen, did Misha and I watch a different show? Johnny said, okay, after tonight, I'm going to have to go to CVS and I'm going to have to pick up some more different stuff because my wife is into different stuff. She's the one that said that we can have sex more. We can
I
have
didn't
it
hear him
every
say
day.
that.
He did. He
He
definitely
kept
said that at
saying
the end.
he wanted more like
After
of an X-rated version.
No, she did. She said we can. She's because he said vanilla sex at the when they're in front of Dr. V. He said I'm okay with vanilla sex, and she said we can get a little. We can do some different things. That's what Bao said. We can change it up. We can do some more exploring, and that's what they said that in front of Dr. V. And then after they did the whole blindfold and they picked three parts and everything, and he his in his ITM, he said, I'm gonna have to go to the store because my wife likes it a little bit differently. And also she's the one that said we can turn it up, we can do every day or every other day. Bal's the one that said all of this. I was like, what's happening? I was like, everybody was talking. Now, I do believe that Johnny wanted the sex and he wanted to open it up to more things, and it helped him relax and it helped him just. I think that not every little thing he's harping on so much, but at the same time, I think that this has opened up Bao's nose uh, and let out the freak in her. That is let out the freak in you. So I think that's Bao. I do wonder because they're both very intellectual people, and we know that now that they've started having sex, is it all going to be all about sex? I don't. I really want them to still connect. So I'm glad that they opened up about their parentage and how her father was and everything. But also, this does tell me, like people that have had parents that have had alcoholism or drugs in their past. Some of them, either if they haven't had negative issues, they do become perfectionists, and or they're very neurotic in certain ways. So this does not surprise me about Bao, how she wants to have every little thing perfect, stuff that certain other people would not pay attention to. So that's kind of just what he's going to have to, and that is actually something that you can get used to. That's not a bad thing. So yeah, but I think Bao is like letting out the inner freak in her. I think that's a lot, Bao. Yeah, and he's like, I'm not gonna say no. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, like getting oh, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna read what Cindy said. Bao is a freak. When she was talking to her friend, she said, "What if he has a small peen?" That she was concerned about that.
That doesn't make somebody a freak though. I think every woman kind of wonders that.
That's
Like,
actually true.
does it work? Is it the right size? I think every woman kind of wonders that. I get more of the freak vibes from Johnny than Bao. But maybe I missed some things. Maybe I missed some details. It is 2 hours. I be looking away, eating. So maybe I missed it. But getting into this conversation with Bao about her father. Child, she took so long to spit it out. I thought she was trying to say her dad was touching the little girls.
I did
I
too.
thought that's what she was getting at. And I was sitting there like, because I believe it was you who said you believe Bao had some type of sexual trauma, or I don't know if that was you or not. But so when she started doing that, I was like, don't tell me her daddy was. She took so long to just spit it out, and I'm she's so proper. Like, well, this girl told me your dad's the local drunk. I'm like, what little kid is walking around talking about the local drunk? So but getting into that, it's yeah, I don't even know what to say about that, but I thought it was interesting to like find that out about her. I think that's why she's so with the Excel sheets. I think that's why she's so straight and narrow. I think that's why she like always has to color within the lines, because her dad was out there wilding. Her dad was out there starting stuff in the neighborhood. So I think for her, I think it kind of explains her OCD
Absolutely.
like need to control and be in the straight and narrow. But what did you think about that?
I agree, and I actually think that they're both two sides of the same coin. This is one of the only ones that I think that the what do you call it, the professionals or whatever you call it, it makes sense that they connected them together, not because of their parent or their heritage, but he is OCD and he has a lot of issues with wanting to be with somebody because he was, has father issues and his mother never hugged him or said I love you. And then you got Bao because of her parenting, her parentage. The father was the local drunk and had like a bad reputation, and a lot of people didn't trust him. And then the way they grew up, she is very she needs a perfectionist, among other things. And I feel like they both have the same type of issues, but it just manifests in different ways. So yeah, I definitely think that the father, how she grew up, where she grew up, and wanting to be around other kids, just wanting to be accepted. Bao just wants to be accepted. Yeah, good and bad and ugly, Bao wants to be accepted. But Sharon, I did not remember the toy drawer, but I do remember I remember the small peen conversation and some of the other things. So she probably has a toy drawer. I'm telling you, it was Bao he was like, I'm good with vanilla sex. He's the one that said that. And she said, no, we can spice it up. She's the one that said we can spice it up. So yeah, but the questions about the father, I'm glad that they're still giving them questions because I don't want it to be just all sex with them. So that's it.
Right. I want to touch on what High Vibe says. She said, Bao speaks in a very detached manner about her father's alcoholism as if she's telling a story about someone else's life. So that's kind of, I felt the detachment. So I don't know if she's lying or not. I don't know. I felt the detached, like she was, it was almost like if she was telling a story out of a book or something she's seen on a movie. And so I noticed that. I don't know if she's lying. I think she has that ability to emotionally detach, and I think that's kind of what Johnny was feeling in the beginning when he kept saying you're so hot and cold. So I think she is one of those people. I think she felt the embarrassment and the shame, and she immediately kind of detached from it or tried to act like it wasn't happening so that she wouldn't have to deal with it. But yeah, that's a good that's a good.
I would agree with that.
My
I
head
agree.
is like.
I understand what you're saying. That's a good. High vibes. I would agree with you. And she has detachment issues that sometimes that when she's talking about it, she's honestly almost compartmentalizing it. Like this is what happened, or she's sounding very like not therapeutic, but this is what happened. So, almost robotic about it. Like this is how my childhood was, but I almost think it's a way of putting a wall back up. Like if he doesn't accept me, then I can walk out the door. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I actually thought that Johnny, I was really looking at his face when she was talking about it because I said, is he taking this in? Is he being empathetic to what she's saying? Because I do remember this in her intro that she talked about her father like this. So I said, is he being empathetic or is he just using it as just let's get to the next conversation? So I was really trying to pay attention to how his reaction was to her conversation. But I agree with you. It was a type of detachment. So Tia said, and I want to go back to the other thing you just said, Tia, but maybe she appeared detached because it was so painful for her. Yes, I agree that it was just so painful for her that she didn't want to cry. She was really trying to hold herself together. So she just told it like it was a story, like this is what happened. But Tia said that, but Johnny's a hypocrite because he did you notice that he giggles every time? I got yes, every time they talk about sex. A few episodes ago, he complained that Bao was too giddy when he tried to be intimate. That is so funny you say that, Tia, and I'm gonna go to Misha because last time, I think it was last week, when we were together, I said this. I said, they've switched roles. I was like, he's jumping around like a little giddy little girl. And yeah, I feel like he came home the day they were supposed to do the dart game. I said, is he jumping around like a giddy little girl? I said, they're switching roles. But go ahead, Misha. What did you think about what Tia just said?
what I do think Johnny is a hypocrite. I I think yeah, he was definitely being a hypocrite on that. But I did I did see Bao's kind of, it's like her body language, it seems almost middle schoolish. Like it does seem very childlike, like the way she walks, the way like when they're walking into rooms, like it seems very almost like she's in high school or junior high. Like I don't want to call it kitty, like a 5-year-old or something. I don't want to call it that, but I do see that, but I don't think it's something that's a turn off. I think that's a little bit extreme. When she was making them puppy dog faces, yes, that don't do that, Bow. But but I don't think it's that big of a deal. I think I would be laughing too if I was Bow, because the way he kisses her, the way he moves his mouth is so ill. It's so like I would be laughing too because he's like talking, joking, and then all of a sudden it's like bow chicka wow wow, and Bow's just supposed to like switch into the sex kitten. I would be laughing too if I was Bow. So I do think he is a bit of a hypocrite. He can't really like see himself, the things he does, because he's so busy trying to make Bow the perfect wife that he has in his head.
But to your point, or remember last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, when he was crying and he said, "Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem." So he is noticing that he does nitpick. Like she's 97% perfect or right, and then I nitpick on the 3%. But I still, but she still does that little giddy little thing, just like in this one last episode. I don't remember if it was before they were laying on the bed or after, but she was like, pick me up. And she was getting on top of him and she was like, yes, pick me up. And I was like, wow, stop that. But at the same time, I was like, listen, they already had sex at this point. I don't think that's going to turn him off. But, but yeah, I do think, as he said, like we've been really lusting after each other and stuff. So
What I will say is I feel that he's a hypocrite because the giddiness doesn't bother him when it comes with affection. So we saw her jump on him, hug him like that was her daddy and she was a 5-year-old, and he seemed into that and he was okay with that. But it's like as long as it involves touch, as long as and he's so dependent on, like, for him to complain about making the bed by himself while Bal's doing her makeup. Like, I didn't think that's anything to like have an issue with. But no, when we cooked, we did it together. And I like that. I'm like, if you don't go get you a puppy, Johnny, like Bao is not responsible of holding your hand every task you do. So I think that's the importance of having your own identity coming into a relationship whole. So you're not putting so much pressure on your partner to fulfill every single hole and loop that's missing. Like, that's not really fair to kind of be critiquing every little thing that she doesn't hold your hand and jump on you and all that stuff. It's just like, Johnny, come on now.
Okay, so that's why I love this because we disagree on one point. We agree on one point and disagree on another. The making the bed, I don't think that he was complaining about that. I think that he noticed it as, okay, I see what she's doing. Like she's kind of directing me like Val does. And I think that he wasn't saying it as a complaint, but he was saying it as, okay, I'm noticing that that's what she does. Like that's her, like she likes to, not as much as she likes to control the situation. We were supposed to make the bed together, and she's in there doing her makeup, and I ended up making the bed, and she's telling me how to do it. I think that he was noticing that that's what my wife does. Like this is that I didn't look at that as a complaint. Now, the food thing, I think that he was saying, I like when we do stuff together, like the making the meals together. And even though she was very much, well, I want the food to be perfect. He said, I didn't mind being your sous chef in that point. You know, you wanted me to cut the things exactly like that. I didn't think that was, he wasn't complaining about it, but he did pick up on the fact that she was telling him how to make it. And while she's in there doing her makeup, she wanted it the way she wanted it done. So I think that they're kind of navigating into certain roles. I didn't look at that as a bad thing. And because I didn't think that he was looking at it as a negative. Yeah. And I definitely
I
think
thought
this.
I heard him say I didn't like that. That's why I took it as I thought he said I don't like that, like when we were cooking we did it together, and I thought like he was kind of, I felt like he was comparing it as far as them doing things together. And in my opinion, I think it would be hard to make a bed with someone. Like, do you both, like, I don't understand. I don't, maybe I've been single for too long, but I don't really understand how you're supposed to make a bed with someone. Like the cooking, I understand that you do the side dishes, I'll do the main dish. I understand that, but the making the bed, it seemed like I feel like he was pointing it out. So next time,
No,
let's do it together.
no,
And
I
I'm
agree with
like,
you. Making the bed together is silly. It's just silly. It doesn't make you know cooking. That makes sense. But and I think that it's just silly. And I think that they were trying to do stuff together, and then they realized that like we're not going to make the bed the same way, or we're not going to make it together. Like either I'm going to make the bed up, and I'm not going to do it the way you want me to do it, or and so I think when they were doing the replay, he said, "Is this how you want it done?" Like that. And she said, well, I usually have the corners all tucked in and everything. So she was kind of directing him. And I do think to a certain point, Cindy, he does like the control. He wants to be controlled a little bit. Like he wants to know the directive. Like he didn't mind her being her sous chef. He didn't mind her saying, no, I want the vegetables cut up like this. So I think Johnny does like that to an extent, like not in big stuff, but I think that he likes that a little bit. And then I forgot the other thing you said that I did agree with you on, and I can't remember what it was. But yeah, like I said, the bed making, I don't think that he was necessarily complaining about it, but he was like, I just noticed that you made you were putting your makeup on, just like, okay, let me ask you, wouldn't you rather be putting your makeup on instead of you and your man making the bed together? To me, I'm like, that's silly. I'll finish what I'm doing in the bathroom. Go ahead and make the bed. I'm asking to, would you think that was, to me, I would think that was silly. What do you think, Misha? You're right, Tia.
huh?
No, I was saying, what do
What'd you
you
say?
think? I was saying to you, what do you think? Would would you want? You just said you
Yeah,
wouldn't want to put that together.
I don't know. I think Johnny does like control. I think he does want control in the relationship because it kind of because I don't think because he sees because I feel like Bao's control or leadership it's kind of led by anxiety and worry. So I don't think he likes that aspect of it. I think that's why he gets so irritated when they're doing like the painting and wine type of dates, and she's like trying to make everything perfect. I think that's why he's annoyed, because it's led by a different, like it's led by anxiety and worry. So I think Johnny does like being in control. I agree with Tia. If Johnny is making the bed, Bao should not be telling him what to do. That's one thing I cannot stand. If I am doing something, let me do it. Don't be
Right.
on the sidelines talking about you missed the spot, you dropped something over. Don't do that.
Well,
Just
that's what I
let
think.
me
And that's what I think.
do what I need to do.
And that's what I think. If he had made the bed how he wants to make the bed, she would have said, "You're doing it wrong." And so I think when it's the little things, and you're right, her control is led by anxiety. But when it's the little things, I don't think he cares too much. I don't think like making the bed, I don't care. But if it was big things, I think that he would say something about it. Like, so yeah, Auntie agrees that he's a hypocrite. He doesn't want Bao to act childlike. But he is a big giddy kid when he's talking about, yeah, when I agree with you. That's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to agree with you on, and I couldn't remember what it was. When it comes to sex, he's okay with her being jumping around like a little jumping bean. But the making the bed thing, I didn't think he too much cared about. But I was like, sir, you're jumping around here like a giddy little kid. Like was when she came home, when she did this whole dart game and everything. I was like, Johnny, you've switched roles now. Like, I do agree with you on that. I did. Yeah. When it comes to sex, he doesn't care that he's like, okay, so this is her when she's attracted. So, and yeah, that's it.
Yeah, so I think we're good on Johnny and Val. Let's get into let's get into Michaela and Zach. The first thing I want to talk about with them. So one thing I picked up, I don't know if y'all picked it up on it, when they're sitting there with Dr. V, and every time Michaela talks, Zach starts laughing almost, and I took it as if, because here's the thing, I felt Michaela was putting 20 on 10. She was being very extra. It was almost like she was trying to get Dr. V on her side. Like anything that Zach said, see, Dr. Viviana, I don't know what to do with this. See, I don't know like where to go from here. You see what you hear what he just said? Like it was kind of like that's what I felt like she was doing during that session. And it's like Zach kept laughing. I noticed he kept laughing when she would say certain things. And I kind of felt like he was laughing because like you're putting on an act right now. You're putting on a front right now in front of these people. That's what I felt. And I even think that's why a part of the reason why he was so frustrated. But I want to know what you think about that. Did the whole crying and the F bomb, F bomb, F bomb, and I don't want to hurt you, and oh my God, this is too much. I don't need this. Right? What did you think about that whole scene of them sitting there? And yeah, what was going on in your head?
Okay, so Tia said 100% Michaela was high level manipulation mode and Zach knew it. I do think that at this point, Zach needs to, and I'm not going to say the word move on. I think that Zach needs to, because people can change, although she's going to take a lot of work to change. And we know that, the hurricane is coming. But at the same time, if that was somebody that has self-esteem issues, that has confidence issues, has a lot of the issues that Michaela has, like there's more than just those two, and he keeps restating what she already did, all it's going to do is heighten those already blaring issues. So yes, I don't know that I do think that her apology was a manipulation, but at the same time, he's got to say, okay, I accept her apology, even if he doesn't. He's got to try to be present in this situation right now, because if he doesn't, this is when all of her negative thoughts come back blaring. And I think that she has said, no, I did something wrong. I was wrong. I swear, I totally think that I was wrong. And she was wrong. I'm not forgiving her for how she did, canceling the party afterwards, and then saying, I didn't know that. All of those things, absolutely a manipulation. But now he doesn't trust her as far as he can throw her. And he's just like, okay, even if I don't know my wife, he wants to leave. He's like, I'm done. He's stopped everything. Mentally, he's like, he doesn't trust her anymore. But I think that he needs to stop restating it. I definitely think that he needs to let this portion, whatever she did 3 weeks ago, just don't even mention it anymore. Because sometimes those people that are immature, those people that have all the issues, they you are already you're not showing any patience, you're not showing uh, any type of, I don't know the word right now. The hurricane's going to come sooner. If you understand what I'm saying, is now it's just brewing under the surface. She's just a hurricane brewing, or what do you call it? Just brewing under the surface, and him not trusting, and him saying all of these things, all of the negativity is just coming up to the surface. It's just coming back, coming back. So this portion of what she did, although very wrong, although true, you don't need to. You do have to have your senses about you. Just don't restate it anymore. Just stop. That's one. Uh, I do think it's very odd that I'm going to actually go back. Zach, if you say you're going to schedule, let's do a date night, and then you go over to get your fire stick from your house, you got to stop staying at your house. Come home, come back to the apartment. Just because that brings back that rejection. That brings up her all of her negative insecurities. So why didn't he just come back home? And the fact that he didn't, and he called her and he said, it's late. So you're basically, not only are you coming back, not coming home, but now you've canceled a scheduled date that she wanted to do, whatever, Netflix and chill or whatever, and you canceled that. She feels rejected. All of this comes back to the surface. So I don't know why you keep wanting to stay home or stay at your house. I don't know why you keep not wanting to be there with her. That's what I want to ask. And then, well, you're only 50. You don't know if I like you. You don't know. Why wouldn't you know I like you? Because of how you've been acting. So he's just not there anymore. So yeah, I do think she's still a manipulator. She's still all of these things, but he needs to stop. He needs to stop bringing up something that happened 3 weeks ago. He just needs to, because all of that's going to come to the surface. I believe that we're going to see the real estate agent, the smiling salesperson, Michaela, that smiles and knows how to turn it on. That girl's going to clock out, and Hurricane Cave's about to clock in. Because we got 3 and 4. We got 3 and 4 of her in there. The nice ones are clocking out, and the bad ones are clocking in. So that's what I think about that. There's more, but go ahead. I've talked enough.
I felt what Zach was saying. I understand why he was kind of kept bringing it up. Like, he was even insinuating that her blowups are a character trait, because I believe I kind of agree with that, because that's been her resolution to dealing with things her whole life. She's 32, I believe, years old. So to say, to say in front of Dr. V, I made a mistake, I'm not going to do it again, that's a lie. And that's what I think Zach's trying to get at. He maybe can't vocalize or communicate exactly that, but I think it's not, and I don't even think he really expects her to be perfect. He's saying his deal breaker is he does not want to be with a woman that blows up like that. He can't do the tit for tat, and that drains men. Like I said before, Michaela's so tit for tat. She wants to get him riled up. She wants that reaction out of him. That's, men don't do that. You know, I think Michaela's a catty woman, and men don't, they don't stick around for stuff like that. So I think that's even part of the reason why he don't want to be there at that apartment with her. Cause yeah, I get it. Like, it's in her character now. That type of resolution is in her, and that's not going to go away overnight. That's not a, oh, you called it out, I'm never going to do it again. No, that's how you react. That's your reaction to things. So I think, like, she does need to heal, get therapy, and it's something she needs to work on over time. I don't think it's something that she can sit there and tell Dr. V, he keeps holding me account. I already apologized. Yeah, but he's talking about moving forward. He can't deal with it again. And for Dr. V to equate that to, you want her to be perfect, I don't think he wants her to be perfect. He don't want her to explode. So there was, what are, oh,
So I'm going to put up, says Tia said I had a point. I'm not saying that, yes, there was one explosion. She's 30, Jack's 27. I'm not saying that.
But there's been multiple. It hasn't been one though. There's the whole, she has, I'm talking about like that's, I think that that's what he means by the knee jerking is yes, the tit for tat. She's been tit for tat multiple times. So I think for her, it's, they caught her blowing up one time, but I think there's more that's going on.
So the knee-jerk reaction was the canceling of the party, and of course the so I'm not gonna, yes, she's gonna do it again, as we all know, but at the same time, when he keeps doing these, I don't know. I just think, no, I do know. I think that he wasn't truly, I know exactly what I'm trying to say. He could not truly articulate what his issue was. He was like, I think that this is in you. I think that this is a part of you. And she's like, I'm trying to change. So when he canceled the date night, the Netflix night, she said, okay, that's fine. But then she did say, okay, that kind of hurts my feelings. Like, she wanted to be honest, but she didn't blow up about it. Now, yes, it hurt her feelings. She was like, even if it's going to take you an hour to come home, still come home. Don't just keep doing this to me. And I do think that she really, even if she's going to try and change, yes, she's going to do it again, because this is what she's been doing for years. And yes, people have let her get away with it. Her sisters and so on have let her get away with it. I think that Zach, previous to Michaela, because he's seen one blow up, some manipulation and lies. Right, true. I think that Zach has had previous relationships with women who have done this to him, though. I think that that's what I'm interested in now. And I think that one of them may have been an abuser, and that he kept going back because she would say, oh, well, forgive me. He kept going back because they really have only been together 23. No, they've been together less than everybody else. So I think that he is noticing things that he should have stopped in a previous relationship. So he wants to stop it now before other things come up. I think that he is, whatever happened to him in his previous relationship, he's like, it was in that person, and now I want to stop this before this happens to me again. That's what I think. Go ahead. Let me go back to going.
Yeah, that's all I really had for them. But yeah, I don't know if you have anything else, but that's all I really had for them because it's
No,
like the same thing
it's
over and over.
yeah.
So next, I want to get into Merla and Auntie. I always love your opinion. Even I don't care if it's different. I love your delivery
I
and
do
your
too, and
opinions.
that's
So I'm still gonna be watching. I'm still
right.
gonna be there.
And that's why me and Misha we do this together, and that's why I always tell her, Misha, I love doing this with you, even when I love when we disagree because we actually agree on most of the things. We mostly agree with it. And I honestly think it's this one aspect of it. I just stop restating the issue, just stop restating it because this is gonna make the what is it? Not the lava. What's the volcano? It's already erupting under the surface. She's trying to calm it down, and we know it's gonna come back up. We know it. So, but let's move on because we got some other people to.
Yes. So let's get into Marla and Gil. Don't beat me, cousins, because you know we team Marla, but I liked. Can I even say it? I'm just kidding. I liked Gil this episode. I will say I actually saw patience in him towards Merla this episode. And I think that's partially why he got his kiss this episode. But I saw the protector in him. Like I said before, I still don't think he is the right man for her. I'm not saying he's the right man for her, but I like them together this this episode. I feel like even when they met with Dr. Viviana, when they sat down and he said he gave Dr. Viviana warning, this is she's very nervous about this. She's nervous about things like this. So I liked that. I like that he did that. And you can kind of see the nervousness on her face. I don't know I don't know if she's been through what she's been through that is she's so it's not even the hesitant because I wouldn't even want to kiss Gil, but it seems like there's this nervousness there that I it seems deep rooted. It doesn't seem like it's all on I don't know. It just seems like there's something else there that she's been through. And I don't yeah, I don't think it's I don't know. Felicia, I know. It was just one episode. That's why I said I liked him this episode. I'm saying I like them together this episode. I'm not saying they need to be together. They still disagree on so many other topics. I'm just saying this particular episode I saw the protector side. I saw a genuine patience out of him, whereas before it he didn't have the whole when am I going to get a hug type of vibe and when am I going to get a kiss type of vibe that he's had in all these other episodes. I still don't think they are a good match. I don't think they're a good match. I don't know if they'll be together after decision day. I'm just saying I liked what I saw on the TV this particular episode. I'm not dismissing anything else that happened. I'm just saying this particular episode. So, what did you think about them?
This episode, I was confusion. I was confusion. This episode, and as I said a couple weeks ago, I was fine to Mirla, but uh, and I was very much I was looking because I look intently at how Gil is handling her, because a lot of people are very split on this couple. Um, I said I'm going to have a real issue if she feels obligated to kiss him. If she feels like uh, if she feels like she has to kiss him because of their conversation with Dr. V. But I appreciated the fact that when he sat down, he said, just let you know, she's very nervous. And I think that she really holds sex and intimacy and kissing to a high regard. And I totally appreciate that. I appreciate that about her. I also like listening to her. I totally got a very much even better look into what she thinks about like sex, intimacy, and everything, and why she is waiting. She really does want to make sure that it's right before she does it. I'm glad that when she did kiss him, because I was like, is she gonna kiss him in front of Dr. V, or is she gonna kiss him like right after Dr. V leaves? I really wanted to make sure that it wasn't because she felt like she had to. So I was very much side eye. I was like, okay, Mirla, now you stuck to your guns. Do this when you want to do it, not because you feel like he's pressuring you or somebody else is pressuring him. And then we see that she just gave him a kiss, and it was really unexpected. And I really think so. I have my issues with Mirla, but I said I really think that she's the type of person that is actually kind of me. That I'm not going to do it when you force me to do it. I'm going to do it because I want to do it when I feel comfortable. So I was cool with that. I was like, okay, that made total sense. I liked her. Just I'm just going to surprise him with it. And it was because I wanted to, not because I felt like I had to. So I appreciated that about them. I like the there, and it's so interesting because I was like, they're one of the only couples that are sitting, except for of course Bao and Johnny, sitting like up close and like really feel like there's like a connection, or they just really have like a good rapport, and I'm like, what? So, and then when she said, we're not gonna get a divorce, and I was like, okay. That's just that was really kind of confusing to me, when it really just gives me the impression that you really are not feeling this man, but then you say these things. So I thought that was interesting too. I just really like I said, if y'all don't last, you guys are at least gonna be good friends. I just had this like feeling that I was like, this is really weird. Like it's almost like a turn, which is a good thing. Which is a good thing. And maybe, this is the right way. Mirla is doing it the right way. I'm not saying that she wasn't doing the right way. I just didn't like how much she complained. And I just didn't like how much she just, everything was an issue. But I didn't dislike her. So I thought that was a good thing. Yeah, that was it. I just really am glad that they're really trying to get to know each other. And a lot of people are saying, well, he's all about the sex. He's all about the sex. He's all about the sex. And I said, no, when they did the head thing, he's like, they talked about what they liked about each other and what they had, what issues they have with each other, So I thought it was actually a really promising episode for them. That's it. Go ahead.
I agree. I agree with what you said on like how you said, if you're forcing me or putting pressure on me, I'm not going to do it. And I feel like that part of that played into the role of Merla and Gil. I feel like people are coming so hard on Merla, but if you have production telling you kiss him, take the next step. You have Dr. Viviana, what? You haven't kissed? You have Pastor Cal, what? You haven't kissed? You have the other girls, the other men telling you you need to kiss him, you need to do this and that. I feel like that delayed it too. Because that was like, because I I'm the same way with, you're not gonna force me to do something you're not going to. So I think the outside pressure, because I think a lot of the other couples fed in to the pressure and we're like, okay, well, we are married, let's do it. And Marlo was the only one like, no, like, I don't know this man. Even when she makes comments like, well, I wouldn't hug a stranger. And he's like, I'm not a stranger. Gil, yes, you are. You are a stranger. You are married on paper, but you just met this woman. She does not know you. So I feel like she was the only one that kind of held her ground. Like Felicia said, she goes to the beat of her own drum. I 100% agree. And I think because she didn't conform or bust under the pressure like the other couples, people want to nitpick that and try to put her down for that.
Yes, and I do agree. And so I don't like when he says when she says stuff like I wouldn't hug or kiss a perfect stranger, and he's like we're strangers, but I'm your husband, and I really think I and when she says stuff like that, it gives me Ryan vibes. Ryan that's just like puts a wall up, like he and checks out. Like you're not strangers, and that's what I was saying more. Pull down that wall a little bit. Don't say stuff like, "Oh, he's a perfect stranger." He is still your husband. Try to get to know him, even if it's not a kiss. Just try to like open up to him a little bit more. So yeah, I do think that they just had a little bit more of a relaxed connection with each other. So I don't like when she says stuff like, "Oh, well, he's a perfect stranger." He is a stranger, but he's also your husband. So if you are open enough to the process to walk down the aisle, be open to the process of getting to know him and relaxing. And I also thought that the cuddling was weird. I'm sorry, but I was like, either, and I know that she's not a physical touch person, but he was like, no, you cuddle like this. And so I said, they don't, she said, I like to cuddle. I said, they don't cuddle often. They don't cuddle a lot. I said, that's just a very awkward, and I said, y'all don't cuddle often because you should be able to mess a little.
Right.
He
You
got
have
some
that
big arms.
cuddle position when he was like, okay, lean back. I was like, what the heck? Like, why is her head in your face? Like, I was like, this is weird.
It was really weird. And I said, this looks uncomfortable and awkward. So I just said they don't do that often. And listening to her talk about being cheated before, I said she said she wants the next man to be for her forever man. And I always and I know it's don't to me, when she said stuff in the beginning episodes where I can't remember what she said. Now I can't remember, but she wants this. Oh, she said, "I just want to be married." And she just kept saying, "I just want to be married. I just want to be married." So I'm thinking, did she want to be married just for the sake of being married, or does she really want to get to know this man? So you're gonna have to bring down your walls a little bit. So I did like them this episode. hmm that's all I have for now. Okay. So Felicia disagrees. She said, I disagree with Dr. V, emphasizing emphasis on having intimacy in the form of the act. They are still strangers uh, and are trying to get to know each other. Well, this is interesting, Felicia. I thought I remember Gil saying we can be intimate, but I'm not talking about sex. And I thought Gil was saying that there's other ways to being intimate, that's what I thought, but I could be wrong. But you're right. There are other ways to be being intimate. And I think that that's where she wants to get to.
Mm.
Okay, we're about to get into that. We got to get into that, y'all, because I got another appointment, and this is gonna be a long one.
Yeah. So yeah. I had my doubts about them actually consummating, about Rachel and Jose actually consummating the marriage. If they, like, it just seemed when they sat there, first of all, let me get into this, which I was going to touch on anyway. When they're in front of Dr. V or Pastor Cal, we're perfect. I'm so happy. We're perfect. And it didn't make sense because we had that. It was a couple episodes back, but they're on the honeymoon. Jose says he's not going to move towards intimacy if his boxes aren't checked. We get to the next episode and they magically consummated their marriage, and I was like, how so? You just said all your boxes need to be checked. What boxes did she check in under 3 days? So it didn't make sense to me. The fact that they couldn't the fact that they could not talk about the whole so the fact that they could not talk about Rachel calling him the other man's name, that says a lot. Um, I kind of, I'm kind of iffy. I don't think they really consummated, but then I also think if they did consummate it, it was too fast, and that's why they can't just sit down and talk about it. So yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 on that, but I don't really believe them when they say they consummated the marriage. What I wanted, so let's get into, first I want to get into Rachel, then I'll get into what I have to say about Jose. Rachel has this facade. Like, we saw her the first scene that they were in of this episode. We're so happy. He's a perfect match. And then later in the episode, you pull out this note that you wrote a long time ago that he was controlling. And Jose was deflecting, talking about, why are you just saying this now? He was deflecting. I don't like his reaction to that, but I was kind of wondering the same thing, because you've put on this front and this facade like everything is so great, but this whole time you felt this man was controlling. And so if this incident did not happen, when were you going to bring up the fact that you didn't like him being controlling? When was that going to come out? And I want to get into Rachel going with the ladies to the little smash house and talking about, I don't love Jose anymore. And I'm like, how you fall out of love in one day? So you never were really in love to begin with. So it was, and not to mention, I feel like she's, I don't want her to stay with Jose at all. I just feel like you need to give yourself time to heal. Like, for instance, she had a live-in boyfriend before she got on this show. And I feel like she didn't heal from that situation before she got on the show. So calling him another man's name, I don't know if it was a friend. I don't know if it was a live-in boyfriend. I don't know, but what?
Misha,
Huh?
you know whose name she called him, right?
Who?
They were in like a little group setting. She called him Johnny. Johnny, the other cast member. It was
I
that.
thought Ryan was joking.
No, Ryan was serious. No,
That was
that's why.
no.
That's why
No.
Jose's reaction is crazier. That's why, yes, it was literally a faux pas. It was literally an accident. Like, if we're all together and you see us
Are
all
you
together.
sure now? I thought Ryan
I got
was
clarity
joking.
last night. No, he wasn't joking. Two,
I thought he was being sarcastic.
no.
That changes the whole.
Yes, that's why I had to stop you. That's why I had to stop you. That's why I was like, because I try to get on mute and let you talk, but I was like, Misha, wait. He called her Johnny. Like, if we're all in a group setting, and I accidentally call you Kia. I work with y'all so much that I do it to my friends that I'm like, oh, I'm calling Keisha Shireen, just like, and I was like, oh shoot, that's because I just talked to her an hour ago. You know what I'm saying? It was that type of thing.
Now I'm even more mad because
Exactly.
I was trying to understand if it was the ex or if it was just an accident. Even me, if I had to catch myself, I'm really bad with names. But not only that, if I'm dating someone, I say I'm talking to them, I'll be like, girl, and I'll catch myself and be like, oh, shoot, I'm sorry. You're not a girl. I know that you're not one of my girlfriends. I know that. So it's clearly it was an accident. Let's get into the fact that she apologized. She apologized. Let's get into the fact that she left all her stuff in the apartment. So she didn't have her keys, she didn't have no purse. She said she went with the producer to walk the producer to her car. So if you deadbolted the place and then left, you knew she was still on the property. So that part, it seems very, very intentional. And the fact that he went to these men on the golf course trying to build his case against Rachel, trying to get everyone on his side, talking about, oh well, she left, I didn't know where she went, kind of trying to insinuate she left, she called me another man's name, and then she left, as if as if she was out there cheating when you know good and well she was outside. Like, he knew that. And then you sit there and say, oh, I texted her right before while I was in the parking lot. You did not text her because you sat in that kitchen and said you will help her pack her boxes. So you don't have enough pride to even admit that you're wrong. You're not going to text her and help and tell her that you miss her and you love her. I'm like, so yeah, I didn't like that. And Gil stepped in, everybody stepped in. All the men were like, his story don't make no sense. There's holes in it. And I was just disgusted with him. And like, my favorite YouTube sister Janice Hilton always says, collect your data. She always says, never marry a man without seeing him upset. But when you're in a situation, you sign up for a show like this, you have 8 weeks to collect your data. You don't get to see them mad. So I'm glad Rachel got to see him mad, because he did this with cameras, with producers, with cast members. Imagine if they were at that secluded house with no one else and just her. I cannot even imagine what he would do when no one is there. And for him to sit there smiling in her face and acting like it's all her and she's the one that's giving up and she's the issue, it was disgusting. But I'll let you go.
Girl, yes. So I'm so mad because not only that, we were on the rooftop. He said we were on the rooftop with the other couples, and he said, this is Ryan, said that I was there, Johnny was there, that we like four of them were there, and he said, yeah, she called him Johnny. But when you're all together, she met Johnny. They all met at the same time, and besides that, Johnny probably said something just now or whatever. We don't know. But my point is, it was that quick that she apologized right after, and he cussed her clean out. Did you see that part? He cussed her clean out.
Quick point. I forgot about that point. He told her to get the F out.
Yes.
Get the F out. He told her to. Then he goes to the men and says that she just left. I don't know where she went. You told her
to get the F out, and then you lock it. I need some, y'all in the chat, if y'all got some accidental deadbolts, please send them my way. Like, what? This man is, and this is the thing. If she were to move, he's already got in his head plans to move her into his house, because yes, he already has a house. Girl, if you make one little mistake, he can kick you clean out. That's his house, his name on the deed. Don't you dare move into that man's house. And I'm like, look, if we're all in a group setting, and that was literally an accident. She apologized right after. They go downstairs. He cusses her out. She leaves with the producer for 30 minutes. And you could see that she doesn't have her purse with her or anything else, or her keys. You knew that. He is a liar because he knew that she did not have her stuff with her. And then you deadbolt the door. That, to me, you're vindictive, you're spiteful, you're an egomaniac, and you're just a tiny little man. You're just a horrible person. And the thing is, she's knocking on other people's doors that she knows. The thing is, they may have rented out, that's corporate housing. They may have rented out other of those apartments, but we don't know. I don't know if all of those apartments are empty. That was unsafe. That was also just unsafe. You know what I'm saying? And the fact that he had no regard for her, and I was like, gosh, that's why I didn't want to say anything about it when I saw the previews, because I said, let me see what happens, because it'd be one thing. We would actually have a conversation if she said it in bed. If she said it in bed or about or something like that. This was a get together, and Johnny is your bro. You know, you and Johnny are like, y'all get in these deep man hugs all the time. You cussed her out for nothing. Then the next day, she wants to talk about it. She's like, my mother doesn't talk to me like that. My father's told me not to let a man ever talk to you like that. Do you have a problem? Do you understand what the issue was, why you shouldn't have done that? What do you think about what happened last night, how we left things? And he said, well, I guess I did something wrong. He said, well, maybe, he was so flippant. He acts imperious, like she should be proud, or she should be happy to be with him. You tiny little man. And so, and when he shut down and he didn't want to, and he wasn't taking any accountability for how he acted, then she was like, I can't be married to you. I'm going to leave. Now, I do take issue with, but she has said that this is her issue. She knows her issue is that she lets things slide for too long. When they were in that nursery and he couldn't let her buy a simple plant, girl, say something. The fact that she lets things go for too long, that is her issue, but she recognized that was her issue before she got married. And I feel like when she was saying to him, I really need you to listen more, she should have done more. She should have actually said more. She should have actually given more. But she's so worried about how he's going to react and trying to keep the peace. And I think she doesn't like the confrontation either. You can't wait till the blow up to say, don't ever talk to me like that again. If you had this in your phone for 2 weeks, then you needed to say something. I totally agree with you on that point. But the fact that he said somebody's name that you're probably always standing next to, that's your like main bro on this show, it was a simple accident. And then he was like, oh no. And then he wanted her to grovel. The producer's like, what's going on? And he's like, I'm not saying anything. She needs to come back to me. If she comes back in here and wants to apologize and says that she went too far, then I'll say something. But I'm not going to say anything to her. And I was like, what is wrong with you? But I do. So then she comes back with this phone. And it's so interesting because Sean said something, and Sean is divorced. He said, when you restate a problem on top of an already existing problem, the person that's hearing it, all that they are doing is compounding the problem. They're not hearing you. The person that it's directed to is not going to hear you. So I feel like the producer that was in the room with her, telling her, well, go ahead and read your phone. No, she should leave. She would have had she would have had it back in her court. If she would have left, if she would have pulled a Johnny or a Zach and left for a couple of days, let the dust settle, and then let that tiny little man come back to her and said, my ego got in the way. But those producers stepped in and tried to navigate stuff. That's the same thing that they did last year with Paige when they were at the little night spot and Paige was trying to leave and saying that he's shut down, he doesn't want to say anything to me. And the producer's like, well, go back and talk to him. Go back and talk to him. No, she needed to leave. He should have never raised his voice to her and told her to bounce. He said, get the F out, bounce. Oh, but 2 points. Let me go back. Now that he got the smoke, I'm sure I got more smoke in here for him because I'm a little heated right now. I'm gonna go back to the conversation with Dr. V. This is the prime time for y'all to talk about your sex or intimacy because she is an actual licensed sex therapist, and the shutdown was just crazy because they're holding hands. They don't want to speak. I don't remember who it was that I was chatting with a couple that was in here a couple weeks ago, and I said they were saying, "Crystal, do you really think that they had sex?" And I said, "Yeah, they probably had sex. It probably wasn't in the beginning, but yeah, they had sex." Either now, last night I started to doubt it. I started to doubt myself because I believed it, or they had sex that one time on the beach or whenever during the honeymoon, and they have not had sex since. I said I said either they did have sex that one time and they haven't had it since, or it's all a lie. It was all a dream. Because and the fact that they're not even talking to the right, this is Dr. V. This is the person you need to talk to. So that was really, it was actually kind of creepy. I was like, she doesn't want to say anything in front of Johnny, but Johnny's looking at her, telling her, well, go ahead and speak. It was just all undercover. I was side eyeing that whole thing. And I don't know who was in here saying, do we think he's a beard or do you think she's a beard and the whole thing? I'm not
That's
going,
Felicia.
yeah, I'm not going to speculate that, but I do think
It was giving. That's what it was
it was
giving this
given
episode.
definitely something. I said, there's definitely not, there's a lot that's not happening in the bedroom, like because it's just, even when they did talk about, and then I start, of course, when stuff like happens like this, y'all, then I start to go back to when they did say they consummated. And I think it was with Pastor Cal. She's like, he said, did you guys consummate? Yeah, we consummated. That's all, that's it. Y'all were, and as you stated before, Misha, they were hot and heavy. He was giving her the, now I think that his kisses are worse than Johnny's. He liked to grab her by the neck and everything. And now he's not doing any of that. It's just weird. The whole thing, now I'm very suspicious, as now I'm kind of on y'all side about either they didn't have sex at all or they did have sex that one time and they haven't had it since. So I just think this is very odd. I just, that whole scene, I wanted to say shout out to the sound guys and the cinematographers that are like, that made that scene so ominous. So it was just really creepy. So that's it for now. Go ahead.
I want to get into High Vibes comment. She said she calls it letting things slide, in but in actuality, she's building a case against the person, which doesn't allow them to fix what's wrong. That brought to my memory at the beginning of the season when the family said she likes to say noted. If you don't do what she likes, she says noted. So, and
Mental
what did she
notes.
do?
Or mental
She
notes.
noted. She actually got the notepad in her phone and wrote it on there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was an issue in this, but like she's been saying, he doesn't listen. So, but I agree that she should have spoke up a long time ago, because it's almost like she was waiting for an exit. Like I'm not saying she's wrong for leaving. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that she had a whole, like High Vibe says, she built up this whole case against him. She had plenty of reasons, but she was sitting on it, and then, oh, this happened. Yeah, I'm out. I'm definitely out. But Jose saying like it's not fair. Here I'm like, I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel that Rachel needs to be done, but I understand Jose's point. I'm not forgiving that or throwing that under the rug. I understand Jose's point in that it's not fair. It's not fair to have that type of system of doing things, having this long list of things you don't like. And then once the blow up happens, coming out and saying it. Because, like you said, Sean said, that person's going to be in defense. They're going to feel like you're attacking them. Therefore, that's exactly what he did. He deflected all the accountability from him and said, well, you said this. Well, you didn't. He turned it back on her.
Yep.
And I think that's what happens when you have the noted mentality of, I'm just going to have all these mental notes of things I don't like, but I'm not going to say anything. So yeah, I'm now even more disgusted. I did not know Ryan was being serious. I didn't know he was being serious, because that pisses me off even more, because he went to that golf course and said, Rachel called me by another man's name, as if they didn't know, as if they weren't there, like as if they didn't know it. So I'm glad Ryan called him out and said it was Johnny. And that kind of makes sense why Gil said, has she done this before? That makes sense, because I think Gil was saying it's not that big of a deal, but then like he's like, wait, is she doing this all the time? Is that why you're so irritated? So that even brings more clarity why the men were so dismissive. Like, it's not
Yes.
that big of a deal. Like, you're overreacting.
You're overreacting. And also, the men are looking at him like, wait a minute, she called you by a different name and now she's asking for a divorce. Like, what did you, and even I really appreciate Gil, because he didn't say there's something I'm missing. He said there's something you're not telling us, because you guys have been just all over each other for weeks. And now she wants a divorce. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You are lying. And and then just the holes in his story, because he wanted to make sure and look good, and you don't look good because you didn't tell them how you cussed this girl clean up and down the apartment for I don't know how long, and then you locked the door. It was an accident. I always lock down the house. That's not your house. That's Lifetime's house. And you could tell, her keys were probably right there. You could tell that she was not there. You probably saw her walk out and then he has been waiting for the next shoe to drop. He heard, now she sounded like she was like 21. I don't know. I don't like to speculate. Sometimes I do speculate, I'll be honest. But to me, it sounded like she was 21 or 22, or, her early 20s when she cheated, and he is holding on to that. He's waiting for the next shoe to drop. Well, she said she cheated in one of her last relationships. That was years ago. He's holding on to that, even though she has said how many times, I learned my lesson. Oh, for sure, I learned. Yes, I learned. He's waiting. Oh, I don't know where she went. She probably went to see another guy. That's your ego, and that's your insecurity, you tiny little man. I'm sorry. No, it made me so mad that it was Johnny. I was like, what did she call him? She called him somebody that's standing next to you, that's always next to you. That is such a simple. And the weird thing is, and again, y'all know I watch Kev on Stage. He was saying, y'all just met. I'm surprised that more people haven't done this throughout the seasons. Like, this is the first time that's happened. This is what happens. I'm surprised Michaela hasn't done it, because she had a little something before the show. It's just to me, I think that Rachel, the fact that he blew up for something that was so simple, says that you cannot move into this man's house. And if you do, yeah, to me, this is one. I think that this is a weird Ryan and Clara. The no sex thing is just, well, and I don't mind they're not having sex. If it was like Mirla, who has been stating and who has been like very forthright about the reasons why, don't hide it. It's just weird. The whole thing has just been really weird. Yeah, sorry. I told you I might get on my diatribe again.
That's I'm still, now that new bit of information just changed the game for me, because okay, because here's the thing, I was feeling like he was wrong for the locking her out and cussing her out, but to really have this like come out and he's wrong for the whole entire thing, that's yeah. I just, my only thing is I just hope Rachel is serious. That's what happens when you speak too soon. When you
The
when you
love
try
bomb.
to jump off the boat too soon without really getting a feel of your feelings, really just reevaluating everything that happened. So my thing with Rachel is I feel like she kind of spoke too soon on, I want a divorce and I don't love him anymore. Cause if you're gonna say all that just to renege and go back to playing the I'm so happy facade, just allow yourself to heal, give yourself time to really sit down and put all of these pieces of the puzzle together and reevaluate, because that's the only thing. Because she doesn't seem, I understand she's trying to act like, oh, I'm so strong, I don't need to deal with this, but you literally gave Jose this whole speech and one producer starts talking to you, then you want to go back and say, okay, well, maybe I should say this. So that makes me think this is Rachel's going to end up falling back and like going back to him. And I think that's what Jose wants. I think that was the whole tactic of his behavior, of acting like he doesn't care, because she's expecting him to be remorseful, and when he doesn't do that, it immediately makes her now be the one pursuing and going after him, saying, well, no, well, let's talk about it, well, let's so I don't know if he's an astronaut. I don't know what he does at NASA, but he seems very smart. He seems like he can snake his way through any test. So I understand how he can make it there, because he seemed like he is just playing all these head games with Rachel. But yeah, that's all I got.
The only thing I want to touch on before we go is the love bombing. I think that Rachel said it too fast, and I think that she wasn't in love. She was
Right.
in the moment. She was maybe they had like a connection. She
She
said they
was
were.
in like.
She was in deep like, and
Mhm.
she said it, and he didn't say it right back to her immediately. And so she did this joking thing with the butter knife, and you better say it. But I think that she said it, and then she stuck. So she's like, "Oh gosh, I just said this, and he didn't say it back." So now they're in this situation, and he's like, "Oh no, of course I still love her. I just to him, him calling her for 5 minutes to say where he is. That's proof of love. No, not being an asshole is really is a hole is showing how proof of love. Not talking to her like a crazy man and telling her to get the f out is showing proof of love. But Rachel, you can't say you love this man one week and say you don't love him the next week. That means that you didn't love him and
Right.
that you were in deep like. That's what I'm very suspicious about. The whole thing. Like, and then now they said the love thing, but then they haven't had sex either. Like it's just I'm so confusion right now with this whole thing. That's it. That's all I got. I've been on my rant for enough with them. I was just so annoyed.
Yeah.
I was like, and it was also very just like, ooh, if he could do that, producer sitting right there, what could he have done if they're in his own house with when all the cameras are gone? You understand what I'm saying? That's what I thought too.
Right.
That's it for me, y'all. Woo.
Yep,
Pray for me.
that's it for me too. Thank y'all for tuning in with us. I will be doing a Queen Talk live discussion on online dating, the good, the bad, the ugly of online dating. So, if you have any good online dating experiences, any bad online dating experiences, any online dating tips, I would love to have you on my panel and get to for you to give your hearsay about it. We have CMK After Dark tomorrow, and I'll be doing a live on a girl chat discussion on my channel tomorrow before CMK After Dark. But thank you guys so much for supporting, for sharing your opinion on this episode. And Crystal?
Yes, thank you all so much. I will be doing, we're going to be bringing the men's panel back for a part 2, partner versus provider. I'm getting their schedules together now. I am going to be going live on the new show. Oh gosh, I just literally, on the new show, Our Kind of People on Tuesday after the show.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes, and I'm also going to be doing a show on colorism and the challenge of forgiveness. So please check me out. Please, follow us on Instagram. I'm Crystal.Lynetta on Instagram, and Crystal Lynette on YouTube. But yeah, I'm going to be doing a live recap of Our Kind of People. Then y'all know that Ready to Love is coming back, and Run the World is coming in October. So yeah, I'm going to be doing a review of those 2 shows as well. This has been a lot of fun. Y'all, we might need to bring wine next time, or when hurricane
Yes.
we might need to have a glass of something. So yes, thank you guys so much. And I guess I had, y'all, I've been doing a lot this week. Yeah, I had computer problems and stuff. So it was my bad if I had in the thumbnail Friday. Misha, you got to say, hey, did you know that the thumbnail said Friday? You're like, let me know, that type of stuff. So, so thank you guys for saying that to me in the chat. I did notice that. So yeah, I love hanging out with Misha, and I love doing this with you guys. So yeah, there's got to be a lot. The men's panel, I got some great feedback on the men's panel. So, and you guys, just DM me or say, let me know what you want me to ask these men's. That's important too. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That's it. I'm glad. Thank you. Good night, y'all.